The first thing that strikes you as the awkward, uncomfortable moments of Sacha Baron Cohen's new series Who is America begin to unfurl before your ever-widening eyes, is that satire is not dead. You may be wondering where it's been, and it's no secret that in the era of Donald Trump's disruptive and erratic US presidency it has struggled to find its voice, but you'll discover that not only is satire not dead, it's heading back to your TV with the force of a tornado. The initial signaling in Who is America is naturally patriotic. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, says John F. Kennedy in a grainy replay of his 1961 inaugural address. But that is intercut with a brutal reminder that there are now 325 million people in America and they are divided as never before. Cohen plays a raft of characters. Among those we meet in the first episode, Billy Wayne Ruddick Jr., a right-wing truther, website editor, Rick Sherman, an artist ex-convict, Aaron Moret, a self-styled anti-terrorism expert, and Dr. Nira Kane and a Giocello, a left-wing healer hoping to mend America's political breach. Lured into his clutches are all manner of middle to high-profile Americans, legislators, lobbyists, even Bernie Sanders and gun advocate Larry Pratt, almost none of whom figure out the trick and many of whom leave themselves exposed in ways you can barely fathom. In that sense, Cohen is not in new territory. This is what Stain's Born Ali G did, though Who is America dials up the intensity tenfold. Ditto Kazakh journalist Barat Sagdiyev and gay fashion reporter Bruno Gehard. Despite what seems to be a wholly distinct face, Cohen has an uncanny knack for disguise, luring the unsuspecting and the all-too-willing into conversations that inevitably turn to poison. If nothing else, Cohen is walking, proof that if you gaze long into Nietzsche's abyss, not only will the abyss also gaze into you, it will put on a prosthetic chin and lull you into such complete and self-inflicted humiliation that recovery ought to be next to impossible. The trick, if that's what we call it, depends on either the hubris or sincerity of its targets. Vainglorious legislators and smarmy political lobbyists are easy marks. Even as the audience beggars disbelief, these interviews are not only still going but worsening moment by moment. The subjects are nailing themselves into figurative coffins with the sheer force of their own ignorance. But depends in equal measure on human sincerity, and perhaps it is there we find an optimistic glimmer in a series that feels like it will, as an entire artistic document, be wholly soul-crushing. As an ex-con artist, who paints with his own feces and other body fluids, delves more deeply into the comically absurd, the willingness of an innocent art gallery director to give him, and his art, a legitimate voice is genuinely touching. And even as a Republican couple are presented, over a family meal, with increasingly absurd suggestions, the desire to not pass judgment is reassuring, if not genuinely surprising. And properly hilarious when, in a post-credit cut, the husband finally speaks his mind. Who is America is, in its first encounters, hilarious. It elicits belly laughs. And then, as you grow acquainted with Cohen's pantheon of odd personalities, it settles into being merely funny. Finally, however, its real power is unleashed and the laughs start to come through gritted teeth and a tightening chest. That's no failure on Cohen's part, rather it represents an astonishing brilliance, of not simply reducing his audience to paroxysms of laughter, but opening a window into the darkest side of our own world, and dragging us through political satire's equivalent of the 5 stages of grief. Who is America will be available on Soho at 10:30 p.m, Mondays from July 16th and also available same day on neon.smh.com.au. Promoted stories recommended by